Should I switch to affected field of view? I heard this reduces visual recoil. However, doesn't it make you zoomed out? What is the deal with this and should I switch? It's actually a good question. Independent versus affected field of view.
Interesting question. Yeah. So I currently use independent field of view. I think it's better in Warzone because independent field of view zooms in your whole screen. So basically, let's say you have a growl, you zoom in, you right click. With independent FOV, your character is zooming in, like I would say about as much as like a 2x optic does. Would you say? Is that about fair?
It doesn't zoom you in that much. It just collapses your field of view that much. So it makes the characters appear bigger horizontally because when your field of view gets collapsed, everything that's still on the same size screen is elongated horizontally, but not like vertically. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe.
It does make it feel like it's pretty zoomed in though. Yes. So I would say
yes.
In Warzone, I definitely prefer independent. Now, when we started playing Modern Warfare, I was always on affected field of view, where it's just your screen looks normal when you're holding a gun. You ADS, nothing changes pretty much. I mean, you still see your wide field of view. It doesn't change. So that's better, I think, on multiplayer, just on smaller maps in general. But on Warzone, I prefer to use independent because when I zoom in, or when I ADS'd, it feels like I'm zooming in more. So that's what I like. I think most people use affected because I'm pretty sure affected is default, isn't it? I think
so, and almost everyone uses it, yeah.
Almost everyone uses affected. I actually originally switched to independent because TGD did that, and I think he has since switched back. I'm not sure about Warzone, but on multiplayer, I'm pretty sure he switched back to affected. We can ask him about that on the episode. Actually,
we could.
So that's me because there's definitely the downside, Bjorn. Like you're saying, it does seem like I have more recoil because there is more visual recoil. I mean, it makes sense. You're more zoomed in, so you see more recoil versus affected. So I think it's still worth it for Warzone because it helps you see people easier. And when you're playing a game where you can't see people, that's pretty helpful.
Because you're more like zoomed in scare quotes, I'm just going to say that from here on out. It does appear like you have more recoil just because your gun is, because again, you're like more zoomed in. So the same amount of recoil will look bouncier. This is why it's easier to hit someone with like a 1x than a 10x if they're like close to you. Is because if you have a 10x and you start shooting and you miss and you recoil a little bit, you won't even see the character anymore because your 10x zoom is like off of them. Whereas 1x, you still stay like, they're still on your screen. It could be worth it. I've played with this. I started with affected. I went to independent because I saw TGD uses that. And then Itchy, friend of the program, said he uses independent for Warzone for the reasons Tanner just mentioned. It makes it easier to like see people and shoot them. I switched back to affected though, because I still like having the extra peripheral vision that a wide field of view gives you, even while ADS'd, so that I can maybe see his squad mates running around next to him or some other team or something. But I think it is definitely worth trying each type of field of view and deciding for yourself. Particularly in Warzone, they both have very big upsides that I think are worth investigating.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say one's better than the other. I think they're both good. They just do different things. But this is something you should play with. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is hard to pick. Like it's not something where if one person is using affected, I'm like, oh, this guy's a fucking moron. It's just he's using affected, I'm using independent. So I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. It's whatever you prefer, but most people seem to use affected from what I've seen.
Affected, I think, is just better for multiplayer. I think that's why a lot of people started with that.
I wonder if that's why I think the AMAX has so much recoil is because I use independent. Ooh. And maybe the people that usually use it are using affected.
It's possible.
Because no matter how I set it up, I think it has way too much recoil. And that's honestly probably why.
Thanks for checking out this clip of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe because in addition to clips like this one, we also have full episodes of the podcast on the channel as well as gameplay breakdowns and more. The show is streamed live on twitch.tv/Razinon every Wednesday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So give us a follow over there, make sure to turn on notifications, and you can chat with us live during the podcast. And of course, we are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for the Dropshot on your favorite podcast app and make sure to give us a follow. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time, and as always, remember, stay humble.